Right guys, I just want to do a quick comparison video of some combat trousers. We've got Crye G3, the Drifire G3, Crye G4, the Emerson Gear G3, Idogear G3, Idogear G4, and these are the British Army surplus ones. Thought we'd start with these. If you're starting airsoft, I'd recommend getting a pair of these because they're very similar in colour to the Multicam, and they are what they are. They're very lightweight. They're good for if you end up going to Milsims or something. You could keep these in your backpack in case you get your nicer ones wet. Yeah, these you can probably pick them up from £5, maybe £20–25 for a brand new pair. So they are what they are. Also with these, the sizes, I believe 92 is the waist, and then I think this is the inside leg, but they only do a couple of different inside legs. So all you do, just tie this up a little bit and then just tuck it under itself like that. You'll find that it'll probably just sit on top of your boot enough and just hang down to your leg length anyway. Then we've got, these are the Idogear G4 combat trousers. They're a good pair of trousers. Nice material, nice stitching. They even have the mesh inside here. But compared to let's compare them for the original ones. So when you compare them side by side, you can hardly tell the difference. This pocket has just been tucked away. This is one of the features on the G4s, is you can actually tuck these pockets in there. Just noticed the Idogear, this is stiffer on the genuine ones than on this. This is a lot flimsier material. I believe they still have YKK zippers. Yeah. YKK zippers. This material inside here is ever so slightly softer. I might have really soft skin or something, but I found for these ones, the knee pads used to rub, and I used to get red knees when I was playing. When I used to get hot and sweaty, I found they rubbed against my skin. Also, I found the knees on these were not dead center. They felt like they're more to one side. But if you look at the genuine ones, they're actually the same. These are just pulled up. So I've pulled the elastic on here. If you look, they're pretty much the same. It's not very central on your knees. I found even with these, when you kneel down, the knee pad sort of seems to be more around the side for some reason. I'm pretty sure the G3s aren't like that. So they've got the Velcro and a zip. They've got the adjustables on the side, same as the original ones, same as the G3s. This material here, it's a little bit softer on the genuine ones, but it's still nice. It might sound silly, but having this rubbing against your back, as opposed to like this material, it does feel a lot nicer. I'd say these are great for what they are, how much they cost. 36 is a 36. I'm a 36 in the Cryes, I'm a 36 in these. You see that I've actually cinched them up a little bit, so maybe they come up a little bit big. But as a pair of combat trousers go, these are fine if you're after a pair of replica trousers. Then we've got the Idogear G3 trousers. They're pretty standard G3 design. The only difference is the stretch on this bit. This stretchy material it's quite tough to actually stretch. You got it on the back here as well. And the actual trousers, they are very thick. They are a lot thicker than the original ones. So in winter time, that's probably great, but I would say your comfort levels will probably go down a little bit. They've got the flap in here for the knees. Is that the... Yeah, so unlike the original ones have a stretch material here. These have got full, just normal material. So they probably don't really need this extra bit on it. I personally don't really like these. I put them on for a bit and I end up taking them off because they're just not very comfortable. They just feel very stiff and they're just not for me. So out of the two Idogear, I would go for the G4s. I'd go for these all day long over these, even though the knee pads thing. I did find when I bought the genuine knee pads, these were a lot better. The ones that come with it are, they're just terrible. Same as the G3 though. Those knee pads are just not very good. Then we go into these are the G3 by Emerson gear. The difference between those and the genuine G3s by Crye are, these are definitely, the G3s are definitely heavier. They're a thicker material. The stretch on them is a better material than this. This is a lot thinner than this. They have it in the crutch, unlike the Idogear, like they're supposed to. But if you see, these have only been worn a few times. They're already starting to pull. But then I also have these are Emerson gear. This pair seems to be fine. I believe I've wore these more than those, as well as in AR01. See, these aren't as bad. So I don't know if it's this colour material, so that's slightly different shades. I don't know if it's they've changed it somewhere along the line, but these two pairs are fine. I would say if you can't find the genuine Cryes, because you can pick, not in AR01, you can pick these up for not a lot of money for Cryes. I think mine were £80, which is roughly how much you'll pay for a pair of Emerson gear trousers. So if you can't, if it's like a camo like your M81 your ARO1, ARO2, then these are probably the ones to go to. If it's in multicam, I'd probably just stick to your G3s. So this is your Crye G3 trousers, and the Drifire ones. So the only difference really with them, they still have the Crye logo on the side, the same as these. The only difference really is that they're a bit of a stiffer material than the normal G3s. I found these feel like they're fading so fast compared to the top that is just made by Crye. I don't know if that's because it's Drifire material or if it's just ARO1 in general, but these have only been worn maybe 3 or 4 times, and I bought them brand new, pulled them out of the packet. They're already just looking faded, basically. Not massively impressed, but I guess the guys that they're made for probably don't really care. So let's compare them with the multicam ones. So this is the Multicam G3s. The difference between the Multicam G3s and the other type of G3s is the later ones, this stretch material is actually multicam instead of being tan. You can get the earlier G3s that this is not multicam. But if you look at these side by side, the only real sort of difference is the way the pockets work. So this one's zip, and then you'll find things like the back pockets, they actually can fold away nicely. But if you really wanted to, oh, there's zip anyway, but if you really want to, you can fold these inside the pockets. They're just not quite as neat and tidy as the G4. But personally, I prefer the G3s over the G4s. These are more comfortable until you want to put knee pads in them. Then I prefer those. I believe as well the G3s don't have that. Yeah, the G3 don't have this nice fluffy bit inside there. But I prefer the knee pads again, and the stretch material. The stretchy material here helps your trousers not pull down. Basically, when you're bent over doing something, these will stay around your waist better. Then, so for colour stuff, this is obviously your genuine Cryes. This is a pair of Emerson gear trousers. See, this is what I mean about the thing. The earlier ones came like this with the stretch material. This is obviously nowhere near as good as the genuine Cryes. But for colour, these are a lot newer obviously, so it's hard to tell, but I would say the colours look quite deep in compared to that. Then Crye G3 trousers versus the Emerson G3 trousers. The stretchy material is roughly the same colour, maybe a bit shinier. You'll see it's definitely a lot looser than these, but the trousers, the actual camouflage, it's a lot more orangey or pink even This is more of a grey brown, this is more of a pinky brown. But I'd say your average person isn't going to notice that. This is more of a Marpat than AR01. Then, as for your AR02 trousers, see, this is more like my AR02 shirt. But if you look at the stretchy material, that's well off. The colour is well off there. But the camo actually, this is how faded this has gone already. They were very similar about 2 or 3 washes ago. So I probably wouldn't bother getting the Crye AR02 in dryfire. I don't know if the normal G3s fade the same, but I'm not very impressed with those. So yeah, basically, if you're just after a pair of combat trousers, I'd be looking out for these G3s in Multicam. Be looking for these, the G3s in Multicam. I think I paid about £70–80 for these. If you want them in a different camo, then I'd be going for the Emerson gear trousers. They're a lot thinner. You can feel they're not got the same materials, but no one's really going to know when you're running around playing airsoft. And if you destroy a pair of these, they're probably 3 times cheaper than a pair of Cryes when you start going into AR01, AR02 and M81. So thank you very much for watching.